EVs have a lot of buzzes, but everyone is overlooking a crucial factor. Even one is out of reach for a typical American. Nevertheless, the Biden administration is making a concerted effort to force EVs on every American. I'll show you the demographics of Americans so you can see why many people need help to achieve EVs. I also discuss how President Biden's ideas would affect vehicle manufacturers as well as people like you who are American consumers, and keep watching about why Toyota may cease operations. Everyone knows that gas prices have increased, yet many people are unaware of the suffering. It's comparable to boiling a lobster or a frog. When you gradually increase the heat, it can be difficult to tell when you are stewing. The situation with petrol pricing is similar. Rewind to see how much the price of gas has increased. You'll notice a nearly 44% increase in gas prices. That is simply insane and goes beyond inflation. Because of this, more consumers than ever are reaching electric vehicles. In February of last year, the average cost of a new gasoline-powered car was $45,600, while the average price of a new electric vehicle was over $63,000. Of course, a second-hand automobile with a combustion engine may be purchased for a lot less than a low-end electric vehicle. For instance, in Atlanta metro area, the most affordable used EV with a model of year 2018 or newer costed roughly $50,000, even though the most cost significantly more. Nevertheless, hundreds of old gas-powered cars were on the market for under $20,000. The number of Americans who can purchase an EV well tells us how wealthy or impoverished Americans are today. America used to be primarily composed of middle-class people, 61 adults to be exact. However, the middle class has considerably decreased in size over the past 50 years, falling to 44%. Only 18% of US households are currently categorized as upper class, indicating that they make an additional $156,000 a year. They are undoubtedly in the finest position to choose an EV if they so choose, and the current median household income in the US is $67,000. However, 20% of American households earn between $25,000 and $50,000 annually. There 18% of American families earn less than $25,000. As a point of comparison, the current family poverty level is about $27,000. In case you missed it, 38% of American households are deemed lower class and earn less than $52,000. They are barely making ends meet, given an average household size of 2.6 individuals. Therefore, it is equivalent that 38% of US households cannot afford an EV. Do you honestly believe this? The middle class may be better off choosing an EV. In the US, 44% of households are categorized as middle class. However, the middle class's income distribution is extensive. We're talking about a range of $52,000 to $150,000 for household income. It's widespread, and lower-income individuals probably can't afford an EV. The Tesla Y SUV and the Tesla Model 3 sedan are most popular electric vehicles. What will they cost you then? The starting price for Tesla Model Y is $65,900, whereas the starting price for the Model 3 is around $45,000. Why are EVs more expensive to purchase than typical gasoline-powered car? Well, there's a lot of them. One is the expense of the research necessary to create and build an EVs. There are numerous different sorts of EVs, each with a unique set of systems. Advancement in EV is quite similar to starting each time again. Actual gasoline-powered cars undergo annual updates but are rarely entirely rethought. Additionally, EV batteries are by no means inexpensive. Lithium-ion batteries, which are used in EVs, cost far more to make than regular batteries used in gasoline-powered cars. Lithium batteries today are less expensive than when the Nissan Leaf and Chevrolet Bolt were first offered, but they are costly too now. Additionally, EV chargers raise the price of your EV's purchase. Installing a level 2 charger in your home is a good compromise between level 1 charging at home and level 3 charging at public charging station. However, since a level 2 charger alone costs roughly $2,000, you must consider that when calculating your overall EV price. Remember to calculate its cost if you're determined to buy an EV. Alternatively, your electric bill currently, the average cost of power in the country around 14 cents per kilowatt. However, electricity costs are significantly higher in several states across the nation. For instance, New England's average power cost is 24.5 cents per kilowatt. In contrast, in California, the state with the highest population, the average cost is staggering 26.71 cents per kilowatt. Imagine, however, if even half of all Americans begin to drive electric vehicles. In that case, the cost of power would increase even more due to the increase in electricity demand. So we're back to supply against demand in Economics 101. Let's contrast current petrol lane prices with current EV charging prices. But keep in mind that gas prices have reached a record high throughout the last few months of this year. The gas cost an average $4.54 a gallon at retail this past May. The average price of gasoline was $1.96 2 years ago. Still, many experts think that if Biden adopted pro-energy policies, energy prices might decrease to levels seen during the Trump administration. Speaking of President Biden, many Americans won't find his ambitious plans for EVs beneficial. What I mean is this: Biden hosted a sizable economics, foreign energy, and environment conference a few months ago. This was the third meeting he had since taking office. Representatives from more than 20 governments worldwide discussed critical energy and food security issues at the meeting. They also talk about their promises and efforts to fight the global problem of climate change. Some states committed to decarbonizing ocean-based shipping, while others vowed to improve fertilizer options and efficiency. Still, other governments made methane emission reduction commitments. One more common pledge cup is about to come. Increasing the number of zero-emission vehicles on the road is where Biden's ambitious goals come into play. It has been in Biden's plans for years to drastically increase the number of zero-emission vehicles on American roads, or ZEV for short. Biden stated earlier this year that his administration aims to sell 50% of all new light-duty automobiles in 2030 as seeds. Fuel cell, battery, and plug-in hybrid vehicles falls under this category. Anyway, during the important economic summit in June, Biden restated his ambition to enact extensive restrictions that would compel the auto industry to sell more electric and clean green vehicles. Some of these rules have already taken effect, while others will be implemented soon. For example, China and Europe have already started enforcing laws that significantly promote electric vehicles and require the purchase of new obligations. The three biggest automakers in the world are transitioning away from gasoline-powered vehicles at a rate that was unmanageable only a few years ago. However, implementing this approach in the United States will be a complex, in fact, it will be challenging undertaking. The Biden administration plans to spend billions of dollars on EV infrastructure and cost reduction. However, the Senate's bipartisan infrastructure package from previous year only approved $7.5 billion for cost. Although that may seem like a sizable authorization, it was only half of what Biden's asked for. They have yet to discuss where the electricity to power these chargers will come from. Green power plants still need to be constructed. Now that climate change is at its worst, a significant US EV announcement would be good news. But unfortunately, this is hardly good news for the typical American household. The issue with Biden's new policy is this: manufacturers will be required to build zero-emission automobiles once it is fully implemented. As a result, we may anticipate greater auto ownership and purchase cost. E-vehicles are currently too pricey for the typical American. At the top of the electric vehicle spectrum are vehicles like the Tesla Model S, which starts at more than $80,000, and the bottom are vehicles like the Chevrolet Bolt, which starts at $31,000. Even though it is one of the least expensive electric vehicles in the market, its pricing is still about $10,000 higher than of a larger gas-powered sedan like the Chevrolet Malibu. It is now confirmed that there are methods for reducing an EV's overall cost. Using a federal tax credit as an example, the sticker price could be reduced by as much as $7,500. To be eligible for the rebate, you must meet the income eligibility conditions for these credits, which are available for purchasing new EVs. Consider Tesla as an example. The Biden plan for electric vehicles represent a good news for some automakers and bad news for others. More than 2/3 of the battery-powered vehicles sold in the US are made by Tesla, and the declaration by President Biden to require manufacturers to develop ZEVs will boost Tesla sales. Now, thank you for reaching this point. Make sure to finish this video to know more. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe if you are new to this channel, and like, comment, share, and hit the notification bell for more upcoming videos like this. Did you realize that Tesla had no reason to praise the US government before? Tesla received a staggering $465 million loan from the Obama administration in January 2010 to aid in developing and producing the Model S sedan. Tesla definitely won't be around today if not for the financing, according to Peter Wilson, a former top engineer at Tesla who is now CEO of Lucid. Of course, the US government helped Tesla succeed today, but Toyota also had a role. Despite being the biggest car maker in the world, Toyota Motor has only lately entered the US battery electric vehicle market. Biden's plans have come under fire from environmentalists for being too modest compared to various European and Chinese electric vehicle standards. Even though by 2030, half of the vehicles sold in the US are still anticipated to be powered by gas or diesel, the ban on the sale of the new gasoline-powered vehicles is rapidly approaching. With so few players in the battery electric game, some critics believe that the new regulation from the federal government will spell doom for Toyota. Will Toyota be able to catch up in time is the big issue. The typical American has kept their automobile with a combustion engine for 12 years, so we're talking about a little over 10 years. Therefore, Toyota can still rely on gas stations existing for a very long time to fuel their gasoline-powered vehicles. However, the firm is still under pressure to produce and release EVs more quickly. Toyota also lacks the luxury of a government loan for over $500 million to assist. Even at Toyota, where the production of the BEVs and mass vehicles began, remember that just because a company produced an EV does not mean many people will purchase one. Look at the number to see how huge Teslas are. Between January and March this year, almost 75% of EVs sold their Teslas. Despite being the market leader in overall sales, experts claim that Tesla's rearview mirror is becoming congested. Sales of the Model Y SUV and Model 3 sedan both increased significantly. Compared to last year in the first quarter, Americans purchased 32 different electric vehicle models in the first quarter of this year. Analysts expect that number will rise to at least 50 by the end of the year. So who is Tesla's biggest rival? The Mustang Mach-E will be the third best-selling electric vehicle by 2022. Did you know that in its annual Car Wars series, Bank of America estimated that by 2025, GM and Ford would surpass Tesla in the market for electric vehicles? That will happen less than in 3 years. The report estimates that within the next 3 years, Tesla's market share might fall to around 70 to 75% down to 11. That is a deadline. Due to their new EV cars, Ford and GM are anticipated to approach 15%. Today, Tesla completely dominates the market for electric vehicles, so we may find it challenging to picture them slipping into such a place. But experts think there are a chance that might happen. Elon Musk is introducing items at a pace that is too slow, and Tesla's product line isn't extensive enough to compete in the upcoming market rivalry. By 2025, GM plans to invest a whopping $35 billion in electric and driverless vehicles. By 2025, they anticipate selling 400,000 electric vehicles, making them the largest EV seller in the United States. Ford has stated that it will invest an additional $50 billion in electrification by 2026. By 2025, they aim to overtake the current second place in EV sales. Competition is advantageous because it motivates all participants to work harder and provides consumers with more. Theoretically, customers will gain from this. But despite all of that, we can all agree on one thing for the time being. The typical American needs more money to purchase an EV. The Biden administration is well aware of this, but despite how difficult it will for American families, it is steadfastly moving forward with its plan to reduce emissions. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to this channel. Also, please leave a comment down below. Before you leave, did you know that China BYD is beating Tesla in the first half of 2022? If you want to know more, click and watch this video here. See you there!